Welcome back to the Dragon's Lair, everybody. My name is Wade, and this is my show, Let's Talk, where we talk about Warhammer 40k. Happy December, and what I mean by that is happy Grotsmas. The Christmas Grot did bring us a detachment. If you haven't seen it yet, we're going to talk about it here. It's the warrior bioform Onslaught. It's pretty cool. The thing that I would say about it is it's going to require you to sort of cross-reference a bunch of different abilities and know how to synergize because obviously the core of it is warriors. We don't have a lot of time, so let's get into it so we can talk about it. Okay, so the basic detachment rule: leader beasts, warriors, and winged prime units from your army have 5+ invulnerable. That's pretty cool. They they should always have a 5+ invulnerable, in my opinion. But so warriors being tough 5 and now a 5+ invulnerable, that's definitely going to help them stay alive a bit longer. Obviously, being a multi-wound unit is going to help there. And then it changes the keywords a little bit. So they get battle line, which means that you could take 6 units of warriors, which is pretty cool and maybe necessary. Maybe necessary. And another big important thing is it changes their OC from 2 to 3. And that's pretty cool. You're going to have a ton of warriors, units of 6 with winged primes leading them. And it's going to be a good time. One of the big things to remember is the battle slate, the last battle slate. It gave us anything in synapse has a +1 to its strength. So warriors are giving themselves a +1 to strength forevermore. And that's super helpful in the long term of things. Also, remember that any enemy that is within our 6-inch synapse bubble or bigger, if you have linchpin or whatever, gets a -1 to all battle shock tests now. So remember that because that also comes in handy with Shadow of the Warp. All right, so here's the things that we need to start putting together here. So the enhancements, Synaptic Tyrant, is pretty cool. You could attach a Neuro Tyrant to a unit of warriors, of course. And the big deal there is the Neuro Tyrant has this ability called Node Lash, which means +1 to hit rolls. And if your opponent is Battle Shock, +1 to wound rolls. And it doesn't say melee attacks or ranged attacks, so it's +1 either way. That's really cool. That's putting your warriors hitting on 2+, which is very nice because if you have a unit of 6 warriors with melee combat weapons, that means you got 36 attacks hitting on 2+. And then remember the warriors' special ability that they get to choose every fight phase allows you to reroll ones. So that is called Adaptive Instincts, Aggressive Impulse, reroll ones. 36 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s. The math is with you, my friend. Bring the math hammer with you. That's putting it at Strength 6, AP2, only 1 damage, but you're gonna kill Marines. You're gonna kill Marines. Ocular Implant, Winged Prime only. Each time a model in the Bears unit makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll. So that's kind of giving a Winged Prime the a model in the Bears unit. Yep, that's kind of giving the Winged Prime the Node Lash ability. So it kind of turns it into a small Neuro Tyrant. Once again, we just talked about that, getting a +1 to hit on all hit rolls. Really cool. Sensory Assimilation, Winged Tyranid Prime. Models only. Each time an attack targets they bear unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So now they're harder to hit. Super cool. It's going to keep them alive a little bit longer. And being tough 5, the 5+ invulnerable, it's going to keep them alive a little bit longer. And that's what you're going to need. Take hold objectives, do all that stuff, win the game. Elevated Might. Tyranid model only. Bear's unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn which it advanced. See where it says Tyranid model only? I'm of the sound mind and body that you should put that on a winged Hive Tyrant and let that winged Hive Tyrant wreck faces because people aren't going to see it coming. It's already moving 12. So if you've got a move in advance and a charge, You know, I mean, you're talking 15 on the average advance roll. So 15 inches plus 7, 22. 22 inches and it flies. Sounds good to me, man. Sounds good to me. Those are the enhancements. um, let's get into talking about the stratagems. There are some here that I think are bigger winners than others. um, Synaptic amplification, so shooting phase or fight phase, one tiered unit from your army. So a couple of these, it targets a unit of warriors and a endless multitude unit. There's two of these that does this. All of them are 1 CP, so there's no 2 CP thing here. So you target unit of warriors and up to one endless multitude unit. They have to the endless multitude has to be not battle shocked and within 6 inches of the warriors. But anyways, reroll a wound roll of 1, and if it's a tuned warrior unit, reroll a hit roll of 1. So there's a little bit of double up there with the warriors with melee weapons, aggressive and imperative. So just keep your eyes open when it comes to that. But a 20-man unit of Hormagaunts rerolling a 1 to wound is pretty good. And then because they're within 6 inches, the Hormagaunts are inside synapse, so the Hormagaunts are at +1 strength. That math is very good. Obviously it's depending on what you're fighting, but that's good math. Spontaneous hyper corrosion, I think, is okay. So until the end of the phase, so it's during the shooting phase or fight phase, one tiered unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight. Until the end of the phase, add 2 to the strength characteristic of ranged weapons. That could do really well with some of the ranged weapons. And add 1 to the strength of melee weapons. So, with the warriors with melee weapons, they're giving themselves synapse, so that goes to strength 6, and then this would go to strength 7, which would be pretty good for breaking the toughness of lots of things. It's not an 8, so you're not double toughing 4s, but it's still really good. The Tyranid warriors and Winged Hive Prime models in your units. So it's pretty good. Keep in mind the Winged Prime has that Alpha Warrior thing where models in its unit get sustained hits 1. So go back to 36 attacks, hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, sustained hits. Pretty good. It makes me actually want to use my 2 Winged Primes because I got 2 Leviathan boxes. The synaptic micro nodes, it's worded a little bit funny, but it basically makes a sticky objective. It's a little bit different because usually things that make sticky objectives don't happen during your movement phase. So just keep that in mind. It requires a little bit of forethought and timing. Scrolling down. I think Restored Imperative is another one of the winners here. During your command phase, one tiered warrior unit from your army that is below starting strength, return 1 destroyed model. So you're returning a whole model that, is popping off. I believe they've got 3 wounds. It's popping off with 3 wounds with a 5+ invulnerable. It's definitely going to frustrate your opponent, and if you've got that CP to use, I would use it. Just put another warrior back in, because the math is on your side. Think about a combat that's lasting multiple turns, and you keep adding a warrior back every turn. You're going to win that war of attrition, adding that warrior back. And then there's the Synaptic Shield, which is kind of cool. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy has selected its targets. Tyranid Warriors unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more attacks. So this is another one that targets warriors and Endless Multitude and an Endless Multitude unit within 6 inches, not battle shocked. Basically, if the strength of the attack characteristic is higher than your toughness, the opponent is subtracting 1 to wound. And that's pretty much going to be everything for Gaunts. Point is, warriors leading Gaunts, you can make them tougher, you can make them hurt more. So once again, it's connecting units together and synergizing. We here at the Dragon's Lair are super excited to share this information with you, and thank you for spending your time here with us at the Dragon's Lair.